there you are. Come in, come in. Sit back, relax, put your feet up, put your hands down, and come along for a fantasy ride that you'll wish you'd never found.
Smart Sound.
So, Ben, when you were young, you threw a badger through a window. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. It's not my proudest moment, I've got to say. But I don't know if you remember.
It's ticked off the bucket list, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you remember during the height of the BSE crisis.
BSE.
Yes. Now I grew up down in Cornwall. This is when there was. Do you remember? You must have seen it. You weren't in Kathmandu then. There was they were burning all of the livestock, and there were at the time very, very strict restrictions in place about where you could go. If you walked across farmland, you had to disinfect. But you weren't allowed to take dogs out walking, all this kind of stuff, because it was cross contamination, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, my dear old auntie lives out on a farm, which is actually, when I say farm, it's more of a sort of small holding in the middle of the woods. And one beautiful summer's day.
Was her house made out of sweets?
Yeah. I was just about to, I suppose how I described myself was very much like a Red Riding Hood figure. Setting on, skipping through the woods. A basket in hand full of marmalade and tea cakes, I don't know. So no, I went to visit her and knocked on her door, did all the disinfecting. People used to keep, this is genuinely true, used to keep sort of buckets of disinfectant outside their house, etc. So yeah, brushed off my feet, disinfected them, came in. It was a bit like COVID, but for cows, I suppose, at the time.
Calvid.
And Calvid. Oh, dear.
I'm sure we've done that joke a million times already, but yeah. Okay.
Well, yes, we know Marcus, so yeah. So I went in, she put the kettle on or whatever. And I sat there waiting for her while the kettle was boiling. She's chatting to me, oh, how's school going? But yeah, thank you, very fine. Thank you, Auntie Pamela, all the rest of it. And suddenly out the corner of my eye,
I
sense movement.
A squirrel?
If only it had been a squirrel. I look back on that day and I wish it could have been a squirrel.
Oh, no, yeah.
At the corner of my eye, I sense movement. Turn around. Blow me, there's only a bloody badger in the room.
There's a badger in the room?
Little badger in her front room.
How did... Now, was it a footstool? Was it what was it?
Well, this was my first thought, was that maybe dear old Auntie Pam had sort of gotten into taxidermy or something like that. But if that was the case, you weren't very bloody good at it because it was moving still. So, now, any year this would have been, quite a notable event. However, so strongly engraved in my mind was the concept of avoiding cross-contamination.
You were worried. You weren't worried that there was a live angry badger in the room. You were worried that something in the room was contaminated.
My first thought was for the well-being of the lovely herd of Jersey cows just in the 2 fields over. I thought, if this sort of fucker's come in,
so you want to keep the badger contained, then I assume.
With hindsight, that would have been better than what I did. I concede that.
If you were worried about livestock exterior to the building,
yes, you're right. Yeah. I see that now. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I was only about 10.
Hey, we've all made. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. We all have to live with our decisions. That's all right. Yeah.
Yes. But in the.
So what did you say anything to your auntie? Did she have anything to say about a live badger?
Well, she couldn't see it, of course. But I
of course. No,
as soon as I saw it, I dived towards it, and as I did, emitted 2 words: Pam Badger. Now, understandably, in the context, bear in mind she didn't know it was there. She had no idea what was going, because she's just heard a crash as I sort of go over the coffee table.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so she comes running into the room, and there I am on this badger.
How did you tackle the badger? Did you go limbs? Did you go back limbs, front limbs, neck?
Full body weight, around the neck.
Okay, that's military, isn't it? Did they teach you that? They teach you that in Navy College?
Yeah, yes. Which, I mean, funny enough, I hadn't joined by the time. I wasn't it wasn't Napoleonic. I was but
it was clear. But it was clearly in your blood already.
Well, exactly. Yeah, as was much of the badger's DNA by the time he was through with me. So I dive onto the little sod. Auntie comes running in. I say, I've got it. And she's saying, you've got what? What are you talking about? Because of course she can't see. All she can see is this little, sort of mini zebra crossing nose poking out from under my arm.
She didn't know what you were doing. I imagine in Cornwall, a 10-year-old, he could have been bent over on the floor.
Careful.
You could have been up to all sorts of.
I could have been.
Yeah.
Yes, and given mine and my Auntie Pam's relationship. Right? Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we arranged to meet there. Yep.
Yeah, written on the cubicle door.
Yeah, it wasn't our house.
It was the public.
I say house. It was a hollowed out hole in a tree. But,
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. So you've got hold. You've got a firm grip.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Around the badger.
Yes.
And did Pam try and help or step in at any point? Did she have any advice or?
I'll be honest with you. It was at that point that it became clear to me that Auntie Pam was a bit of a coward, and was not going to be the reinforcements that I'd very much counted on when I made my initial badger dive thrust.
So you were full commitment. And
I was in.
And Pam, what? She was a general at the back.
She was. Well, I mean, if what generals do is walk into the room, scream, and drop their cup of tea, that's exactly what she was. Yes.
Well, I mean, luckily there's a sort of big furry animal to soak that up.
Well, exactly. Well, I must admit the sound of the teacup smashing.
Yeah.
If anything, it startled the badger, and far from aiding the situation, made it much worse. You'd think the badger would have been frightened enough with 10-year-old Benny lying on it. Apparently, it could get more scared than that, and it did.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you think it was doing inside the house? I mean, was it looking for food or love or?
Well, obviously, my initial thought was burglary, but I don't know really. I suppose
you didn't ask it. You didn't question.
No, I wasn't. I should probably point out, in my mind, I wasn't performing a citizen's arrest. I was.
Wow. Okay. Assault then. Common assault.
I was assaulting this badger.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So we established that you're on your own. You're on your own here.
I'm on my own. Pam is out of the equation. Useless.
Yeah. Okay. And also that you care desperately about the other wildlife, other livestock in the area.
Yes.
So those are the two things we've got nailed on. Mm-hmm. So what happened next?
A brief struggle ensues. It was like, in old cartoons where this is how it was in my mind. It may have been different from Pam's perspective. Like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, whenever they get into a fight, there's just like a cartoon cloud moving around, and like a fist will come out, and occasionally.
Did they ever fight? I don't think they ever got close, did they?
I can't believe. I can't believe this is the detail that you're picking
No,
up.
I mean, I don't. If this isn't real, then I don't know if any of it is.
Yeah, you're right. The whole thing sounds silly now, doesn't it?
Surely you mean Tasmanian Devil? Would that not trying to be
that probably is who I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of. Okay, I feel like that needed clearing up.
Yes. So all around the room, fists flying out. Occasionally, like a 1980s cartoon, one of us walks out of the dust, has a sip of tea, walks back in, it rolls the sleeves back, walks back in again. um, and in reality, we were just rolling around a bit. I'm desperately. They're surprisingly strong badgers. Have you ever grappled one?
No. Well, I tried. It was very standoffish.
Okay,
the one
right.
that I met, but it wasn't a country badger.
It was okay. It's one of those town badgers.
Yeah. They were a lot more standoffish.
Okay. Yes. We both go under the coffee table.
Oh yeah. What was the coffee table made out of?
Lovely mahogany.
Oh, blimey, that's a heavy table, right?
Yes, it was, which makes what happened next even more surprising.
This is splendid. That's worked out lovely.
It was lovely. You know those when you get a table, lovely, smooth, polished finish, and then they've got the glass cut to the exact shape of the table.
Oh wow!
On top of it,
mahogany and glass.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
this could be an expensive next chapter.
Yes, I remember even at the time seeing it and thinking, "Oh, that's lovely." Even in that, probably should move that cup. That needs a coaster.
Yeah. Okay.
So we roll under it.
Yep.
And
okay.
So I'm now the badger. We're sort of rolling over and over each other. The badger. So it's quite difficult to describe. But you now got the badger on the floor, me on top of the badger, lying sort of face on it, and then just above my back is the table. And
was your auntie filming? Oh no, probably not filming it at that stage, was she?
No, she's still screaming.
Is she?
Saying, Ben, the badger,
my fucking cup of tea. You have to boil another. Yeah.
Even then, she's very concerned about energy prices.
She'd say, watch the mahogany.
Yes, she says. Okay. So she's very concerned about it. It's remarkable how strong badgers are, because what happened next? The badger then
upper body or lower body, legs or bicep.
Bicep. Well, this is a remarkable thing. It was both. So the badger is sort of flat on the floor with me on his back. He then manages to, almost in a press-up motion, raise himself.
So it was upper body
and me.
Wow.
And most incredibly, and the table.
What?
So you've now got the badger is holding up myself.
So you're the lettuce in between a badger and mahogany sandwich.
That's exactly what it was like.
Wow.
It's sort of so he's lifted. He then starts, and bear in mind, I was a fairly scrawny kid, but even so, it's quite remarkable strength. And God knows how much his table weighed.
How much he bench presses is crazy. Yeah.
Well, clearly been working out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was doing coming into it. So, but if there's a gym around here? What the?
I'm looking for something heavy.
You found it.
Is that real mahogany? Oh, lovely. Yeah. Okay.
So he's lifted this up. He then starts running around the room. So you've now picture this. You've got the badger running, me still gripping on for dear life.
Yeah.
With the table on my back. Like some kind of strange sort of table tortoise. The whole thing is scurrying around the room. Oh. And it was at this point that my Uncle Dave entered the room.
Yeah, okay.
Now he's getting on. He's no longer with us now. R.I.P.
Okay.
Uncle Dave.
Was it part of this incident?
I don't think. I put it this way. I don't think it delayed his death. I wouldn't say it added years to his life. Now, Uncle Dave, lovely man, old, bit senile in his old age.
Yeah.
But even before the dementia had set in, which it well and truly had by this stage, I'd always been a strong believer in the.
Was it dementia, or was he regaling people about the time there was a badger being wrestled in his house and people thought he was just a little bit loopy?
Well, I understand. Probably down the line, people, they just go, "That's just Dave, isn't it?" I know, but it had set in at the time. He was always a strong believer in the supernatural. And he'd sworn for years that their house was haunted. Many times when Auntie, when I'd go around and there wasn't a badger on the floor, which happens sometimes. My auntie would be out making the tea. He'd come in and say, "This house is haunted, And he starts saying, "Oh yeah, I've seen this. I've seen books fall off the shelves.
I've seen tables move on their own."
Wow. So imagine his face when he walks into the lounge and sees, because he can't see the badger and he can't see me. He can just see
a floating table.
The table just sort of, as far as he's concerned, running around.
Wow. Spinning around his front room.
Yeah.
Okay.
His beloved wife Pam screaming, floods of tears.
Wow. Did he step in to help, or was this more audience members for your heroicism?
Well, as I said, he'd believed for some time that the place was haunted. He was very, as much as he was losing a bit, he was a very proud man, was Uncle Dave. Liked to feel he could defend his family.
Yeah.
So on seeing his mahogany table, tearing around the room, he dives out into their utility room for a second, reappears with an axe.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. My thoughts exactly.
Don't muck around, do you? In the country?
No. And of course, he absolutely, starts hacking away at this table, not knowing that his lovely little, nephew Benji is underneath.
He think the table was possessed? Did he?
Oh, that's exactly what he thought was going on.
Wow.
So he sets about trying to destroy this table. I'm underneath it, of course. Fortunately, he's not hitting the point of the table that is in contact with my back. But you imagine a bit like, in The Shining, when the axe coming through the door around my face, the other side.
Wow. Of it. Oh my Lord. This is
appearing through.
This, if this wasn't, if this was made up, no one would believe it.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe I've not told this story before now.
This is, wow, for a 10-year-old, for anyone, to be honest. But yeah,
it's clearly left a lasting. But I can remember it so clearly now. In such detail.
I see. Okay, so Axe is coming in, a mobile badger, and a weighty table / glass bit of furniture on your back.
Yeah.
This is a lot's happening.
Well, you're telling me. You should have.
No, you're telling me. You're telling both of us. Okay, so
long story short, Axe starts smashing. It's smashing through the table. I think, right, this is it. If I don't get this bloody thing off, he's going to take my head off through this. Yeah. So I loosen my grip on the badger for a second.
I see.
Shut the table to the side.
Right.
Go, Uncle Dave, it's me. He goes, Benji. Looks down. Of course, he then sees the badger.
Yeah.
God knows what he thought it was, but in a state of panic, his initial reaction is just to swing for it with the axe.
Wow. Did you feel like you had a Stockholm syndrome, like a connection with the badger? In that moment, I caught the badger's eye, and it was looking up at me with almost like a brotherly recognition of what we'd just been through together. The battle that you'd just gone through together, as foes,
exactly. Yeah,
but you had shared something.
Yes, and in his eyes was and there was a pleading. He was, looking at me and saying, "Help, Ben." So, as my Uncle Dave's axe swung down, I dived once again for the badger, scooped him up in my arms, continued in a forward roll. As I exit the roll, my head spins to locate the window. Right, you can see where this is going. I turn, throw the badger.
See where the badger's going? Yeah.
Crashes through the window.
Wow.
And to safety.
Into all the livestock that it could give diseases to.
Yes, by this point, I'd forgotten about...
okay, I mean, a lot was going on. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot happening, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Ben. That's incredible. That is
It is incredible, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's literally almost not credible.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So is that...
Thanks very much.
Is that... When you showed me photos of those hairy axe wounds...
No, that was Auntie Pam.
Ben, tell me about the time you tested makeup on a chicken.
Well, it takes me. I haven't thought about that for quite some time, actually.
When was this? Yeah.
This was... I was 18.
Okay.
I was between jobs, and like many a strapping young, lad,
from the countryside.
was running short of beer money for my real ale that we were drinking in the countryside.
Yeah.
The problem I had is that obviously, what most people would do in that situation would be to get a job where they work fairly hard to get some cash in. I was a very lazy 18-year-old.
Okay, not like most go-getting 18-year-olds.
yeah, but even by those standards.
Wow. Okay.
So I scoured the internet, and so basically looking for ways I could make money as quickly as possible
on the internet. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many careers did you go through on the internet before you got to?
One of them's still going, actually. Obviously OnlyFans has made that, so made it much easier.
You're Benjo the Bum.
That's it. Just Benjo the Bum. One evening, my eye was caught by a job offering to pay fairly good money for testing cosmetic products.
Oh, right. Okay. Mm-hmm. What? Okay.
Now,
and that caught your eye.
Caught my eye, yeah.
Just because it was good money, not because you had an inherent interest in fashion and
no interest whatsoever, which I know will surprise you. No interest in that at all. Sort of no knowledge of makeup techniques or anything like this. But this was for testing not the look of it, but the reaction on skin.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit. I suppose you'd call it a medical trial.
So
I signed up for it. The idea was that you put some of this stuff on your skin and keep it on for 5 or 6 hours, and then you had a little chart you had to fill out about whether it had irritated your skin,
what color your skin had turned to.
Exactly. So ranging from whether whether it caused any pain, any skin flaking. I remember was one of the things. How
fabulous you looked. Or
how fabulous! Again, it wasn't about the cosmetic outcome. It was very much a medical thing. Ranging right down.
No, they shouldn't be mutually exclusive, but okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I did experiment a bit, but that's
keep a couple of samples.
That doesn't need to be part of this story. And this
was down in Cornwall, was it?
This was down in Cornwall. Yes, most of my stories will be because they are.
Because no one in the rest of the world knows what goes on down in Cornwall.
Exactly.
You say it is a storyteller's paradise.
Yep.
Dragons and trolls,
badgers.
Yeah.
So yes, the idea was I'd apply this makeup, leave it on for a few hours, fill out this little chart about how I'd reacted to it, and then little things like how easy it was to remove, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I signed up for it, and then I suppose 2 or 3 days later, I was expecting this. I was told a delivery would be arriving. I was expecting to be sort of a box worth of various potions and creams and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It was a pallet. A pallet turned up.
Jesus, that's a lot of makeup. Purely makeup, was it?
Those were my words exactly. Yes, yeah, all makeup. Wow. So signed for that. Mum and Dad are wondering what's going on. I was still living at home at the time. Yeah, so don't worry about that. I'm earning some money. So,
and all their concerns were taken away.
They said, "That's good enough for us." That is good enough for us. No further questions, Ben. You crack on. You're a good boy. Yeah, have a fiver.
Yeah.
So I eventually managed to get all this stuff offloaded into my room. Got a huge, great pile of makeup sitting there.
Yeah.
And so I commenced the trial. So opened it, and it was I was allowed to do more than one at once. It was. I didn't have to just try one at a time. So I do one patch on just sort of back of my hand, another little bit further up. And I start working my way through these creams.
Yeah. Up and down your body, yeah.
Up and down. Now, so I start off and I'm doing my back up.
Were you just balls out? Not literally balls out, but were you, I'll put the patches anywhere? Or did you have any consideration to, I might put it under my clothesline, just in case?
The thing is, the payment was...
I guess as an 18-year-old
Cornwall
boy.
Yeah, I never had any qualms about that. My main concern was that the payment was for when the job is completed.
Oh, really?
It wasn't by the hour or anything like this. It was, get it done, fill out the form, send it back, get paid. So I wanted to get it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, okay.
So I started off on the back of my hand. I said, then next one a little bit further up, another one further up. This continues. I'm now getting up to my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I look over at the pot, and I've only opened, 4 or 5 jars, and there must have been probably 60 or 70 of these little, little sample pots there.
Yeah, okay.
So I think, well, this is it. So I start working on my other arm, cover that top side and bottom side,
Okay, doubling up. Yeah, that's good, clever.
Okay, well, that's right. So I'm wearing shorts. Yeah. Covered both arms. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm wearing shorts. So I start popping it on my legs. Mm-hmm. Again, little bit of each, working through them. One leg, then the other leg. So I think, well, I suppose I can put some on my face, really. I don't think it's going to burn. It's already been tested on animals by this stage, so it shouldn't be too bad. Cover my face, down to my neck, and then I'm look over, and I've probably got through 15, maybe 20 of the 70. I'll say 70 jars. I think that's probably what it was.
Okay.
I think, well, I've run out of exposed skin here. There's really only one thing for it. So off comes a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Grab some more pots. Start slathering it all over. Now, with hindsight, I think I probably was too liberal in the area I was covering with each. Realistically, 50p size area.
Was there any instructions, or did they just literally deliver a pallet and say fill the form in?
I think there was some kind of instruction booklet, but it was very.
You're an 18-year-old. You're not going to read instructions.
I'm not going to be there. Yeah,
you're
exactly.
A man. You've just come of age. You don't need instructions.
No, exactly. The world's at my feet. I'm not going to be spending.
The world's at your tanned.
Yeah. The world's all over me.
Beautiful looking feet.
Yeah, incredibly well moisturized. And also, a lot of them came with individual. When you buy creams, you must buy a lot of creams.
Oh yeah. I buy a lot of creams. Yeah.
No, I can see.
Pallets by the pallet. I do.
But it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Every little pot comes with its own little instructions as well. But I'm not even opening them. I'm just putting it on. How hard can it be? How different can it be?
Exactly.
Covered. So I've taken the shirt off, covered the whole of my front.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, so I'm reaching around as far as I can up my back.
I feel like there's a massive canvas on your back that you should really try and.
There's a lot of prime real estate there.
Yeah.
Just waiting. I was like a prospector in the wild, heading out west. Gonna find me some gold out in those hills, or So I eventually covered all of my torso. I look back to the pile. I've probably got through, say, 40, 45 of the 70 pots.
And this is all in one day, one morning, one sitting, is it?
Oh, well, I've only been there, say, an hour maximum at this point.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I mean, didn't the? I know it was a film, but didn't the girl in Goldfinger? Didn't she die because her skin couldn't breathe?
Yes. I can't remember if Goldfinger was out by the time I was 18. I suspect it probably was.
Right.
However, I must admit that thought didn't spring to mind. And
maybe Rouge Finger wouldn't have had the problem.
Exactly. And my finger, let's be absolutely clear. I was fucking rouge by this point.
Yeah.
So I covered the top of it, and it looked down. It's still got, say 20% of it left. As I say, I'm wearing shorts. I'm home in my room. No one's going to see. Whip the shorts off. Start lathering them up. Now, I was cautious initially about how close to the critical area.
Yeah,
I did.
Feet, yeah.
I did go. But as time went on, it was clear that I was going to have to encroach onto sacred land. If I was going to get through all these pots. So I'll cut to the chase. Off came the pants.
Wow. Okay. Boom.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad, don't come in.
No, Listen. I'm 18, but they know better than to just come, particularly when they can hear the slapping.
Pallet delivered. They know not to come into my room for 3 or 4 days.
I get a pallet delivered. I tell them I'm about to make some money. Yeah. I disappear into my room. They know. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They know that that's when the magic is happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just completely count myself in this stuff. I'm sat there.
Did you? No, I'm an ideas man. Did you try and arouse yourself so you had more area to cover? You had more opportunities, more 50p's.
More 50p's.
To prospect.
I can't say I did. No, I don't remember, and I feel like I would have remembered. Yeah. I would remember if that had happened, because that's quite a situation to find yourself in, isn't it? Looking down and thinking, well, I can get more out of this.
More so for other people to find you in, but yeah,
yes.
So lost over that, literally.
Nice, very nice, very nice. I'll spare you the gory details, but I'm completely covered. It's a little bit awkward by this stage because I'm standing up. Of course, I can't sit down or I'll be leaving a bum print on the seat. I'd committed to standing up. The only part of my body by this stage which is not covered is the soles of my feet. Okay. Because I don't want to be treading it through the house.
Yeah. Yeah, naked. Treading it through the house is probably best, yeah.
Yeah, because if I leave footprints, that would look silly, wouldn't it?
I mean, this so far seems quite methodical. Quite clinical in not in that respect, but I'm intrigued to know. So far, you covered all of your body, and we've got to, dare I say, a cock. But I'm waiting for the chicken.
Right. Well, it was at this point that I realised that I had no more, as I say, real estate left to cover.
Just to interrogate you a bit further. This all had to be done in a day, did it?
No, it didn't have to be, but I wanted to be paid as soon as possible. So, right. There was no, I think it had to be done within something like 3 weeks, a month. Yeah. But the sooner it was done, the sooner I got paid. So I decided, why not? I'd do it in a one-er, get it done in a job lot, send it off. I could have another pallet delivered tomorrow. Okay.
I see. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So okay. There's a lot to be tested then. Okay. Mm-hmm. So carry on. So you've got how much left and no body, no.
So I reached the point where I think I've got nothing left to cover. Turn and look at the pile. There's 2 pots left.
2 pots. Wow.
2 pots. Yeah.
That's a quid. £1 worth of.
And I'm thinking. Well, the thing is, I've got to do the whole thing, or I don't get paid. This is my assignment, which I've accepted. I've signed a contract. I'm going to do it. So I either test it all or nothing.
Mm-hmm. And you have to wear it for 6 hours.
Yep, 6 hours.
I mean, I'd be tempted to go a little bit of a sole of 1 foot and then try and balance on the other leg for 6 hours. I mean, that's
for 6 hours.
Quite a long time, isn't it?
Yes.
And your hands and your hands and your fingers are done, are they?
Everything's coated. Everything's absolutely coated.
I feel like you've made it more difficult than it needs to be. Really.
Well, what would you have done in that situation?
We all make decisions when we're 18, and
yeah.
We don't all get paid money for it. So
no, true. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm experimenting.
Who am I to judge an entrepreneur?
I'm monetizing my own naivety, is what I'm doing. Okay, so
you've got a head for business and a body for skin.
Yeah.
I think that worked.
I know what you meant. That worked. I think. Let's pretend it did.
Yeah.
So I'm covered, other than the soles of my feet. I've got these 2 pots left. Mm-hmm. I think, what am I going to do? Because it dawns on me, I have to test this now because I'm committed. I'm totally covered. It's got to stay on for 6 hours.
You've gone too deep. You've
exactly.
Sink or swim.
So, yeah. Now, obviously, I can't wander out to mum and dad and go, stick some of this on you for 6 hours. First of all, they're busy people, and secondly, what the fuck are they going to think when I walk out? Right, mum. Just totally covered in, L'Oreal or whatever it was. So actually, I need a patch of bare skin. Where can I get it? I'm looking around my room. Nothing. Obviously, nothing in there.
You didn't. What? You didn't have a patch of skin? What kind of 18-year-old are you?
Yeah, no, you say it, but it does.
Around.
Now you put it like that, it does sound silly, doesn't it? Looking in the room for a patch of living human skin.
Yeah.
But then, out the corner of my eye, out the window,
at the corner of your beautiful eye, I imagine.
Yeah, very, very pretty.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness I didn't have a mirror in my room, because I think if I caught a sight of myself, I would have become very excited.
You'd have had an extra 250p's worth of skin to.
Well, hold up. Well, I mean, that's very generous of you to say that. But I'm not. Maybe 5p.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
There's only bloody chicken in the garden, isn't there? Now, my parents used to keep chickens.
Okay. I like the way they used to, but after the incident,
yeah, they don't anymore. Now, chickens. I don't know how much you know about chickens. Mostly feathered, aren't they? Of course.
Yeah.
But there is an area of exposed skin on the feet, the lower legs, and around the eyes. And if there's ever an area that needs moisturizing, it's the eyes of a chicken.
I mean, that's a tale as old as time. You know. My skin is as dry as a chicken's eyes. That is, my grandma used to say that to us.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's why chicken leather clothing is so popular.
They were almost. That was almost. I remember that. They were almost farmed to extinction, weren't they? Around the turn of the century.
Yeah. Yes, domestic chickens came very close to extinction. Yeah. Notoriously. Yeah, terrible time. So in my room, I've got a door that lets me out into the garden, which in hindsight was a terrible mistake on my parents' part.
Yeah.
I can hear them out in the front, because my bedroom was on the ground floor. I can hear them out in the kitchen having a conversation, something along the lines of, what are we going to do with him? This isn't normal. Why can't he get a job? Why can't he get a girlfriend? So I know they're busy.
His skin is fabulous.
Tell you what, that boy is well moisturized.
Yeah.
So I know they're busy. So I quickly unlock my door through to the garden, nip out into the coop.
So you run out.
Grab the chicken.
You run out naked.
Yep.
As the day you were born, but a little bit more fabulous.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, the way I thought it is, in a way, I was camouflaged. I've got all these patches of all this stuff over me.
Was a lot of the makeup greens and browns.
I can remember thinking, if the person who sees me, if anyone sees me, if they are colorblind, I'm fine. They're not going to know. Just going to see this patch of color moving through the garden. They're just going to think it's a.
That's quite a deep thought.
Mm.
I mean, if they're blind, they won't see you either.
That's very. That is very true. Yeah, wasn't the sound I was most worried about, other than the sound of my naked feet slapping across the patio as I ran out.
Slapping across the patio. That's a good album title.
Yeah.
Okay. So you saw an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a hen or a?
It was a hen called Doris.
Okay.
And I tell you why I remember it was Doris. It's because Doris was my favourite.
Yeah.
A lot of the chickens, they can be quite standoffish. They're not necessarily friendly. Doris was lovely. She would never, if I went out there, she was my favourite. I was her favourite. I went over, she'd come over, even if it wasn't feeding time, she'd come over to say hello. What I'm trying to say is that that chicken trusted me.
To her own, well, I don't know.
Very much so. To her own detriment. It was a trust which
I don't know how fabulous she looked afterwards.
It wasn't great.
No. Was makeup? Was it coloured, or was it just sort of skin cream?
Yeah, it was mostly sort of, as you said, like rouge. kind of stuff. There's a few mascara-y bits. I mean, on myself, I hadn't put it around my eyes. A few purpley bits, but
do hens have eyelashes? I've never really given a thought.
No, they don't. No, or maybe tiny, very little wispy ones.
You could attach them though, couldn't you?
You could. Yes, I could have put false eyelashes on dear old Doris. Maybe it would have made more sense to her if I'd done. She would have gone. She would have thought, okay, I can see what's happening.
I see what right. This doesn't seem weird anymore.
No,
there's a goal. There's an end goal to this. Yeah.
So I grab Doris, bring her back into the room, and as I say, she's a very docile little chicken. So I sit her down. I have to remain standing, obviously.
You sat her down, did you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
But surely that's taking the feet out of range. You want her to stand up.
This was just for the musket the eye bit. Applying it around her eyes, lovely. Chatting to her. Is she going anywhere nice on her holidays? Mm-hmm. Then hoist her up. Her little chicken legs are dangling.
Yep.
I'm holding her by one hand. Obviously, it's quite awkward because I'm getting the mascara or the makap was on my hand over her feathers now.
I didn't think about that. No, exactly.
You
might as well put it on your feet.
Yeah. But I'm thinking that's fine. That's the bit that went on first was the stuff on my hand, of course. If you remember.
6 hours ago.
Not 6 hours ago. Maybe an hour and a half ago by this stage. But I'm thinking if anything was going to happen, it would happen by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember I started trying to apply the because remember I said there were 2 pots. I started trying to apply that sort of by finger to her legs, but she wasn't having it. So I thought, there's an easier way to do this. So I opened both the pots, stood them on my bed.
Double fingered.
No, I opened the pots. The fingers didn't come into it, I'm very pleased to say. Opened the pots, took the lids off, put them on my bed, picked up Doris. Her little chicken legs are dangling.
Yeah.
And I just dunked her. One leg into each pot, swizzled her around a little bit. Up she came.
Oh yeah.
And her legs were perfectly covered in the ointment.
Okay. Were they the same colour or were they different colours?
No, different colour. One was a sort of mauve. The other one was, I suppose, a sort of warm purple. Is probably how I describe it.
All right. So not ridiculous that she would get beaten up when she goes back.
No, they were fine. I mean, these were eventually going to become premium products. So there was nothing.
So there'll be jealousy more than anything.
Exactly.
That's where the problems were probably.
That was my main concern. I was thinking, can I send her back looking like this?
Yeah.
It's going to cause, you know what they're like. Yeah. So dunked her.
She would have fallen foul of.
Nice, very nice. So I've dunked her. I'm holding her, and then I think, despite having not done my soles, I've only gone and bloody caused the same problem with Doris. Except, of course, she's got it over the bottom of her feet. I can't put her down. So she's gonna run around and leave footprints everywhere.
Oh no, I see where this is going. So
yeah.
Are you trying to tell me, Ben, that you stood naked in your bedroom?
Yep.
Completely covered in all different tester samples of 50p segments of makeup, and you held a loft. Very much, I guess, like Simba and the Lion King.
Yeah.
You held Deirdre, Doris. What was her name?
It's Doris. Please,
Doris,
give her the respect she deserves. She's been through a lot.
You held her aloft for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it up high or groin height or?
No, I didn't want to subject her to groin height. I mean, that's she's been through a lot, and also, of course, I don't want her mistaking little Benji for a nice little grub that she can.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it was camouflaged from what I understand, but yeah, okay. For 6 hours, you held. Did the money seem worth it at this point?
Well, I mean, you say 6 hours, that would be ridiculous. It wasn't 6 hours. It was about 4 hours all told. Bear in mind, I'd already applied some. Yeah, about 4 hours. Yeah, head height, eye contact sustained continuously throughout.
Wow, I mean that's quite a hen keeping eye contact with you. Well, I suppose she didn't want to not have eye contact with you just in case. I guess she needed to know where I was at all times as much as I needed to know where she was at all times. Yeah.
As I said, lovely chicken. Had always trusted me. I'd go as far to say that chicken
loved
me, to be honest.
Now, or?
Doris is long gone, I'm afraid to say. 2 or 3 days later. But I can remember looking into the eyes of that chicken.
Yeah.
And the feeling of betrayal. You know, they're not.
The money wasn't worth it. All of a sudden, there was no money in the world.
Oh, I'd spent the money within a week down the pub.
But you still think about Doris to this day, right?
I'll be honest, this is the first time I thought about it since it happened. 200 quid is 200 quid, isn't it? But...
Well, I have to say the chickens are coming home to roost now.
Very nice. Luckily, she wasn't a fighting cock. Otherwise, there
could have been the NSPCA involved, I imagine. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would frown upon this kind of stuff anyway, right?
You tell me in what way that is abuse.
Making chickens sexier. In what way is that bad? Got a point.
Exactly. She's less likely to be eaten, isn't she? She's more likely to be taken out for dinner rather than being dinner, if anything. Doing her a favour.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Ben.
No worries. So yeah, that's the story of the time I put makeup on a chicken. Austen, tell us about the time you had to call the emergency services for an incident involving a toilet.
This was in the 80s. I was running a local shop down on the Falkland Islands.
Okay, really? What had taken you to the Falkland Islands?
A boat.
Okay, great. Yeah, cheers.
No, I was a child mime in Argentina for a while. My parents were down there as assisting in a circus, and I was just trying to get. I don't know. I found the art of mime intriguing, and so I started doing that. And
I bloody wish you still did.
Yes. It was a lot. I was a lot quieter back then.
Okay.
Before I grew into my voice.
Right. Okay. And how old were you?
I really
not to give away your age, but how old were you?
I was a toddler. I was a toddler when we first got to the circus. My parents were investment bankers first of all, and then they decided that wasn't the world for them, so they joined the circus. Okay. My mum was a trapeze artist, and my father was a strong man.
Strong man.
Yeah.
But what did he do in the circus? Emotionally, or he was strong emotionally, or
no, actually, no. He had a breakdown not soon. But cool. He could lift heavy things.
Okay.
Not his emotional state.
No.
Not those around him. Quite a negative man.
Okay.
In all truth.
So quite a depressive, strong man.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll struggle to find an emotionally stable one. To be honest, it's not a stable life.
I suppose anyone running off and joining the circus, to a degree, there's going to be some instability there, isn't there? So.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, it was difficult for him to pick himself up.
Very good.
After these events. Anyway, so my mum, really enjoyed the life.
Okay, you said it was in Argentina.
That's right. Yeah.
And but the incident took place on the Falkland Islands.
Yeah. Malvina.
Okay, and this was in the 80s.
Yes. Yeah.
Quite turbulent time for the Falkland Islands in the late 80s, certainly.
Was it?
I think there was that little war they had, wasn't there, going on?
But this was all long before that, weeks before that.
Weeks, okay, yeah.
And anyway, so yeah, I as a toddler, I got into mime.
Okay, yep. Of course, obviously. toddlers notoriously love being quiet, so that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
I had the world's largest pacifier.
Okay.
It was made out of insulation, so it was it did dampen the noise, and in fact they had more of a sort of a helmet, more of a noise dampening helmet I wore than it was a pacifier in the end. So it was quite good. They drew a face on it, and it didn't freak anyone out.
No, of course, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I was only a trainee mime at that point. It's not like I could do the whole catalogue of mime.
No.
I could do crawling.
Yeah. Okay.
Mainly. I could do Windy Day, crawling.
Right.
I could do Sleeping Lion Cub.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
But obviously, when I was able to walk the whole world,
the whole palette of mine opened up to you. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. There was nothing I couldn't do other than talk.
Which was fine.
Ironically, yeah, that was had a lovely couple of weeks doing that. Nothing to shout about, obviously.
No. Well, you mustn't do that. Yeah.
I mean, that was the problem. Unfortunately, I was the loudest mime they'd ever seen in South America.
Okay, so
that was part of my thing.
Yeah, a selling point.
But it only had but it's it was a fad really. It wasn't sustainable.
Sure.
When people caught on that a loud mime is just a person, and there's loads of them.
Yeah,
it lost its edge. To be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the mime didn't work really. It was a glorious experience. Not for Dad, but Mum was doing cartwheels. She was enjoying it so much, which is great for a trapeze artist. But I had to, I had my own adventures to have. So I thought, you know what?
And so you've just started walking at this point, and you've decided you need to fly the nest. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine.
It was, as an artist, as a circus.
Yep.
Circuser, they used to call us.
As a 2-year-old artist. Yep.
Yeah. They can't. We're a nomad breed. We can't be tied down. There's no bricks and mortar. It's all tents and caravans, life on the road. Or in this instance, it was the sea around Argentina.
Okay.
I'd made friends with a whaler. He loved the mime. He'd never seen a loud mime before. It blew his mind.
Yeah, sure.
And you don't get that on whaling ships.
No, I've never thought about it before, but I suppose you don't, do you? No.
No. So
now you say it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I made the whaling fleet or ship. And we did.
What was the ship called, Austen?
It was in Argentinian.
Okay, was it?
It was called. Sorry, this is a while ago now. I think it was called the Whale of a Time. I think the Argentinian.
Oh yeah.
Of that, I can't remember the translation.
Yeah, or Spanish as they call it, but yeah.
No, not back then. Not in the 80s. No.
Oh, okay.
It was heavily Argentinian.
Yeah, not until the Spanish conquest of 1996. But they really. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The little village I was in were very, very patriotic, and they loved a bit of Argentinian. But I'd had enough of that by 2.5. I'm not going to lie to you. I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted to go somewhere that felt like a home that I'd only ever imagined.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted somewhere
British
that was drizzly, cold, green, somewhere like I imagined Wiltshire.
Okay.
And the whaler, he promised me this after we'd slaughtered some beautiful
Wales.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't say their name.
No, I can. People can't see, but you're clearly getting very emotional about it. So
yeah, I mean, I was only what, coming up to 3, but still, they were majestic. They were majestic.
And then you killed them.
Oh, we tore them apart. We held no mercy. I had a penknife. Okay. I went to them. It was strange. The muscles, the muscles that I built up doing miming for those 4 or 5 weeks, really gave me an advantage when opening up a whale
with a penknife.
With a penknife, I was like I was like the Tasmanian devil. They'd never seen anything like it. They had to tie rope around my legs and just let me go at it. It was, and I was putting a lot of the sailors to shame, to be honest. So it wasn't a happy time for me or them or the whales, but I did get transit over to what some people refer to as the Argentinian Wiltshire, which is Malvina, or as we know, the Falkland Islands.
Yeah.
So it was like the home I'd never had, because it was the home I'd never had. But luckily, it was an English colony. No problem. The Argentinians loved them. The English loved them. And it was just a paradise. It was a miserable paradise, which is what Wiltshire is. I think everyone would attest to that.
Yeah.
And so that's where I basically settled down as a 4.5-year-old.
You thought this is where I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was large enough for a caravan to be manoeuvred around the islands, but it also had the familiarity that people knew your name.
Yeah, because you were the 4-year-old mime. I'd imagine people probably do remember that. Yeah,
I was the whale-killing, loud mime toddler.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that's I spent my formative years there up until about 8, and I was doing all kinds of work there. The mime kind of died out. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's a shame.
It's still a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Loud miming. But
you're doing it now in a way, aren't you?
It never leaves you. I'm telling you. Once it's under your skin, once it's in your blood, it's very much like badger DNA.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was, it was English pubs, English way of life. Every Sunday be a roast dinner. Every Saturday night, match of the day on a grainy TV.
Fantastic. How did that work then? Because the Falklands is, I think, ahead of. No, it's behind you.
No. In the 80s, it was the same. In the same time.
Oh, okay, right.
They hadn't worked out international time zones then.
Okay.
So yeah, BBC was piped in every day.
Yeah. Okay.
On
container ship.
And so I made a lot of Argentinian friends there. Bob, Sylvie, another Bob.
Okay. A few Bobs. More, yeah.
I mean, okay, Robert, if we want to.
Yeah.
He won't be listening. He liked to be called Bob. There was Bob, Big Bob, and Bigger Bob.
Okay.
They were the two that I grew up with, and they were fine fine, upstanding members of the community. The wives, not so much. They were a little bit law unto themselves. I think they were northern. I think originally, it's a different world.
Northern British.
No, northern Falkland Islands. Yeah.
Okay. There's a big difference, is there, between those on the north?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
The accents change.
It is. It's crazy. On a night out in the town, you could tell the northerners to the southerners.
Mm-hmm.
What they were wearing, how quickly they were urinating over things.
Right.
Life was imitating the England. It was beautiful to see.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that stuff, you can't teach. It's just ingrained in you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
at some stage, there's a toilet going to come into this, doesn't there?
Oh, the toilet incident. Yeah. So, accidentally slipped on the tile floor. I think there was some soap there, or maybe it was some hair mousse.
Chocolate mousse.
Well, it was chocolate hair mousse. Yeah, it was. I had quite bright red hair at that point. Okay. So I did try and soften the glare from it.
Yeah, you don't want to be upsetting people.
And the thing is about the Falklands, it's a British colony, but you don't get access to all of the fandangled hair products. There was no pallets being delivered of cosmetics, so you had to make do with what you had.
Well, of course, a lot of it hadn't been tested by that point, had it? So
no, not effectively.
No.
And so we had to make do. There wasn't always hair mousse when you wanted to style your hair. Sometimes you had to use any mousse that you could get your hands on.
Okay, but there was a plentiful supply of chocolate mousse.
Oh yeah, they mined it. I think mined it in on the east of the island.
Down the moose mines, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So people. It was hard work there. People got the brown lung.
Okay. Yeah. I think I've read about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So one applying on a Friday night when we were going out to the local bingo hall.
Okay.
You want to look your best.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think I got. Let's say, okay. I got overzealous. There were some boys in town, and they were.
But you were interested in. You wanted to look nice.
It doesn't hurt. No. Keep your options open.
Yeah.
It was more that they weren't from around. They didn't have a circus background. They were more. They'd grown up more nutritioned. They weren't as malnutritioned as I was growing up. So they had, better skin. They were taller. They had, all their fingers,
mm-hmm.
all their teeth, mainly all their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Nose pointed in the right direction, eyes pointed in the right direction.
Okay.
So they had a lot more things going for them. So I had to use every advantage I could, and an excessive amount of chocolate mousse in the hair.
Mm-hmm.
At that time was one of the bows in my armory.
Okay.
I remember it was almost dripping off me. It doesn't stay once it warms up. It doesn't stay.
No.
Doesn't stay where it should. Of course.
No, that would be the problem, wouldn't it? Chocolate mousse.
But the good thing about the Falklands is it's not a particularly warm place, and there's always a bit of a breeze. Yeah, and that does keep the mousse in your hair quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you get into the real thrux of a bingo night.
Mm-hmm.
When you're stabbers, I don't even know what they call it. They call it a stabber in the Falklands.
Mm-hmm.
When you're stabbing your pen, your paper, that kind of friction, that's really going to warm your mousse up.
Warm your mousse, yeah.
Yeah. And
of course, I can see it.
And that's why I had to wear a headband a lot of the time, which again, is benefits and there's all benefits really. Let's be honest.
Well, it was the 80s, wasn't it? So
I've never met someone who can't pull off a headband. except for me, actually, this fateful night.
Okay.
Basically, I was in a bingo toilets and was going very well. I'd got a couple of
fat ladies. 88, lovely.
That's I mean, I can't deny that. I got some ducks.
Mm-hmm. What number is what number is ducks?
17.
Out of curiosity, is it? Okay.
Yeah. It signifies a duck sharpening its beak on a fence post.
Of course it does. Yeah, you're quite right.
In Argentina, it does. I mean, it's
okay.
I don't know if it's universal. I don't know if it's
in Argentina and the Falklands.
Yeah.
Because
they're very similar. Very similar. And so it was the friction, the speed at what we were stabbing our number boards at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's normally sweat or it's chocolate mousse. You can't keep it all in your headband. So you got to go to the toilet. It's a big queue for the toilets. Everyone knows. Everyone's
demoussing by this stage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's only so much moisture a tabard can soak up. And whale skin. A lot of our clothes are whale skin. Well, the ship.
Well, thanks to you, they were.
Exactly. I mean, I did clothe. I clothed quite a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
They owe me that. And queuing up for the toilets, and there was you were slipping and sliding all over the floor at that point.
It's got to be absolute carnage in there, hasn't it?
It is. They tried carpets early on, and that got ripped up straight away.
That's not going to work, is it?
It was a nonsense. The money they were spending more money on cleaning the place at the end of the night than they were taking as income for the night.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
You can't. They were going through Vax machines like it was nobody's business.
Right.
It wasn't our business. Imagine. It was their business. which was the problem. So so there was a tiled floor. Not a lot of it wasn't flat. Anyway, so long story short, I was desperate to chalk a number 1 and a number 2 off of my card. So I kind of slid through the queue, made my apologies, and unfortunately, you do pick up a bit of speed. There was a bit of a slope. The tilers in the 80s, there wasn't a lot of top level craftsmen or
tilers, I suppose, particularly regarding thinking of tilers,
difficult job. Jobs. But when you don't speak Argentinian in an English colony, you are in all sort. You're fighting an uphill battle, and that was the problem with tiling a floor. When it's not flat, it is very much an uphill battle.
It is quite literally uphill,
yeah, and or dare I say a downhill battle? The glass is half full.
Yeah, it depends on your perspective, I suppose, doesn't it? Yeah,
it really does. Yeah, you're quite right. And so I basically slid in, hit my head, and that's called the emergency services. And I don't remember a lot of the next 24 years. I've been in and out of. So I can't remember the name of it.
Who are Falklands?
You? So that was it. That was it. Basically, nothing to tell. It's not even really a story. I don't know why you brought it up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Smart sound.